Okay guys, what's up? Just thought I'd make a little tutorial of an edit I did from a boudoir shoot I did with Mariah here. The technique I'm going to be using is frequency separation, and you'll see that right here. I'm just doing some preliminary pre-editing, pre-coloring, whatever you want to call it, in Lightroom, setting the levels a little bit for the exposures and split toning here, which kind of gives it that high fashion magazine kind of look that's pretty sought after these days. It's hard to get the highlights and the shadows adjusted just right, but that's where practice comes into play, I suppose. It's all in the saturation levels. There's a little before and after. You see the difference. Takes out that yellowish um, feel that's a little bit too warm. So you add the blues and lens correction here. The magic of Lightroom. And then exporting out to actual Photoshop. I use CS6 most of the time. I have CC, but I, oops, excuse me, really haven't used it a ton yet, but I should because it's awesome. And just setting the image size here, resolution of 300. They, it comes usually the fixed resolution is 240 or sometimes 72 DPI, but I never let anything get past me without setting the resolution to 300. And yeah, making sure I did that. Yeah, Mike, you did that. And doing the size, width, and height. Okay. And then make two copies of the background layer. Set them on the texture, and the other one is for the coloring and shadows. First thing you do is you go to the shadows and color background and blur it a little bit with Gaussian blur, just enough so that you don't see the pores anymore. Don't want to go too overboard with it. Just enough to take out the detail so that you can what the frequency separation does is separates the texture of the skin from the colors and the shadows of the skin. That way you have two different layers and you can work with each one separately. Basically what it does, it smooths the skin out but leaves the most of the texture too, so it looks more natural. And on here, going to apply image and setting the levels as you can see here, and then the blending mode set to linear light. I think that was. I forget half the time what I'm doing. Yeah. The music you're hearing right now is my old band Circle of Fear from back in like 95. So that's me on drums. So YouTube, you can't do dick. because I'm on there. That's me. So meh. And here, what I'm doing is with the lasso tool, just finding a spot to make sure that the feathering is right because you don't want that hard edge when you make a selection. And my levels were, or my uh, Photoshop was being an ass right here. I remember that. I'm not sure what was going on. A little glitch, I guess. There we go. See how it feathered that? So that way, when I smooth that part, it's not. It doesn't have that hard, abrupt stop to it. It just kind of feathers out. And you make the selection. Go to Gaussian blur. Blur out the selection a little bit, just to take some of the porous looking texture out of that. And that's what you basically do throughout the entire picture. And so that's what I'll be doing here for a second. I'll speed it up because this takes forever. Lasso tool selection, Gaussian blur, over and over and over. And this takes a minute. I sped this up to 200% so you could all see what was going on, but not have to wait all day for it. And as you go, you just check your levels because every section is gonna you're gonna want to blur it either less or more. But in photography, this is where the real work happens, and you can see why it takes so long sometimes to get pictures back to people because you do this over and over and over and over, and it does take time. But it's a necessary evil. I don't do this to every single one, but on the close-ups, I like to do this. And you got to make sure and get those on those lines under the eyes. That's makes or breaks the pic. You can see a little before and after there, the big difference it makes. And lines around the mouth, of course. Believe it or not, not everyone is perfect naturally. Sometimes they need a little manipulation. And that's where I come in. Before and after there, you can see the big difference. But it still looks natural, right? Moving on to the textures. And the little um, either dimples or divots or pimples, things like that. It kind of eliminates most of that. And with that, I just used the clone stamp tool to take a section of a more pristine part of the skin and go over with a part that isn't so pristine. and you just cover it up. I like to keep my flow. Um, Sometimes it's 100%. Other times I keep it about half. On bigger parts like this big blemish you can see here, it takes a little extra to get rid of things like that. But sometimes we all have that, and I'll take care of that here in a second. But I'll use the patch tool for that. You can see the big difference. Skin tone is pretty much fixed, and it still looks natural. You can still see pores, and it gives it kind of that more of a porcelain kind of look. A little before and after again. Again, you can see the huge difference. On the nose, go a little bit lighter. Under eyes and around the mouth is probably the most important parts because they just stand out the most. And a flatten image, I'm done with the frequency separation. Then I'll take the patch tool and see, just like that, I fixed that bigger blemish that was there. Just circle it, go to a spot that is clean, and move it to cover it up, and it eliminates it. And the lips here, I thought they were just a little on the duller side, didn't have a whole lot of color to them, so I'm taking the lasso tool again and selecting those with modify, expand the selection a little bit, and go into hue saturation, and just gonna mess around with that a little bit, see what I like. I could change it to any color I want: green, blue, red, purple, pink, whatever. I kind of like that right there. Bump up the saturation some, and it looks natural, and you can see the underlying texture. Big difference. You can see in the lips there, huge, huge difference. And before and after. This looks like they got some nice, healthy glow to them. And I'll do the same thing with the eye makeup too. Flatten image, Control J to make a copy, and again with the lasso tool, make a selection. She had this goldish, almost yellowish kind of eyeshadow. Don't really see it too much, but I figured it needed a little bit of a change, make the eyes pop a little bit more. And modify again, feather it out a little bit so it's not such a hard adjustment. When I say a hard adjustment, I mean like a hard edge. Doesn't the color doesn't have a hard edge to it. Then again, I can change it to any color I want. There's green and purples and pretty much whatever. That pink was kind of pretty, so well, I guess I went for the yellow. Okay, looks good. The green does look kind of cool. Not a big fan of green, but that looks cool too. I like that. Yeah. Ooh, I like that too. Yeah, very cool. Okay, so flatten image again. And I think that was basically it for that, for the skin. I get these flyaway hairs here. I just used a healing brush and go over those and take care of some of the more prominent strands that are flying away. Exciting stuff, huh? But this is what you do, you know, or this is what you should do. The trick is to make it look natural, and then I'll go up to the liquify tool for that big part sticking right there, and blow the image up a little bit, and just basically what you do is push the hair down. Just kind of flatten it a little bit so that's it's not sticking out so much. And you see the before and after here. I didn't want to eliminate that part that's sticking out. It's because I don't know, kind of like it, I guess. Flatten image. And I thought the necklace needed a little pop to it, so I took the dodge tool and lit it up a little bit to make it a little bit lighter, and the brush tool, and I went ahead and grabbed one of my zillions and zillions of brushes and grabbed one that I use a lot to add like a star effect or a shining effect on a separate layer, and bam, right there. And go up to the transform tool and just reposition that, take down the opacity a little bit after I resize it, just so it's a hint of a sparkle. You don't want to make it too obvious, but it's just something that catches the eye a little bit without being too over the top. Yeah, very cool. And then again, flatten the image. go up the curves and play with the reds and blues a little bit. Bring the reds down and bring the blues up a little bit to give it even more of that high fashion kind of edited look. See the difference there? When there's too much red or yellow, it just looks, I don't know. It's got that tungsten light kind of look, and I don't like. So I like it a little bit flatter. So very cool. And turn up the exposure a little bit. Bring down the shadows some, just for more contrast. And flatten the image. And yeah, I think that should just about do it. Add my little signature to it. And bam. There you go. Make sure the size is right. And looks pretty good. Yeah, I like that. Save the image. Convert the JPEG. Rename it. And here's a before and after of the entire thing. It being the before, obviously. And there's the after. So cool. Thanks for watching.